You may be thinking about starting some motorcycle travel, and let's face it, traveling nowadays is expensive, going to hotels, Airbnbs. The cheaper option is like this, coming to a campsite. Now, obviously with a bike, we haven't got a whole lot of space, so you got to be mindful of kind of how much kit you're taking, the distance you want to travel, how long you're going for. If you're not sure what type of setup you want, well, luckily I've got 3 different choices. We've got the minimalist option all the way up to the big 2-3 person tent with a garage. We're closest to it then, so let's start off with the minimalist option. As you can see, I have got a poncho, but you can use a tarp. These will set you back anywhere between £40 and £80 on Amazon, or get yourself in a surplus store and probably pick up one of these cheaper. This thing is not going to be your most comfortable, but it's going to be the smallest, the lightest, and the easiest to set up as well. And I think the good thing with the tarp is that you don't have to always go to a campsite. You might be able to find yourself a little bit of a quiet lane, a bit of grass, maybe a little bit of woods, and then you can just set this up. You don't need a whole lot of space like you will do with a tent. Looking around it then, as you can see with the GSA, there are plenty of kind of mounting options. I've got the crash cages upper and lower. So with the poncho, the top, I've got some bungees. I've actually utilised one of the holes in the front discs. Coming onto this side, I've literally just strapped it to whatever I can. Passenger footbed for this one. Main thing if you are using this is to make sure the poncho comes far enough over the bike, so if it does rain, it's going to come down there and then fall this side of the bike. You don't want it to go that side because obviously that's where you're sleeping. As you can see, plenty of room under here. Oh. I'm 6'1", and these ponchos are longer than myself. So as you can see, not the most flattering look, is it? But hey, who cares? Plenty of space under here for me, and obviously my riding gear as well. I'd utilise the top of the bag here to probably put my jacket on, try and air that, let it get some fresh air. Boots and helmet, you want to make sure they're tucked in, not going to get wet, because no one likes putting on a wet helmet or wet boots in the morning. Now, as you can tell, I have put the poncho on the opposite side to the side stand. The reason I've done that is if the ground was to swallow the side stand, I've had it on a bike before, the ground just gave way and the bike fell over. You don't want to be under the bike on that side. So that's why poncho's on the opposite side. Actually, bike's leaning that way. Now, I don't know what's the best option, using the side stand, or this bike has a centre stand. I don't know whether it'd be better to use the centre stand or the side stand. Drop a comment below if you've done this method. Which one did you prefer, centre or side stand, and why? Okay, so that's going to be the cheapest option. Like I said, let's call it £50 for the poncho, 5 bungees, and a couple of pegs. Overall, probably going to set you back £70–80 to get out and do some travelling. There's going to be plenty of other camping gear that you're going to need, but this is just the sleeping option. I'll do another video later on when I cover off what gear I've got and what gear I use and why I use it. Moving on to the middle option. So this one is a 2-man tent. Probably cost about £80, £90. It's a Yellowstone Alpine 2 for reference. And this is it here. The good thing with the Yellowstone is you've got the inner, which does have a fly mozzie net, and then you've got the outer membrane. If you're in a country where actually you don't need the outer waterproof layer because it's not going to rain, and you just want to put up the inside mozzie net, then there you can. It literally takes 5 minutes to put up, and it's really easy. But yes, sorry, got distracted. What I like with this door, actually it comes out far enough that you'll be able to leave half your gear in this section here, and if you've got like a day sack or anything you don't want to put on the inside, you can leave it there. With this option being a 2-man tent, what I like to call that is a 1-man plus gear. If you've got 2 of you in there plus gear, it's going to be a very, very tight squeeze. And to be honest, even if it's just 2 of you camping with no motorcycle gear, it's still going to be tight. So yes, 1 man plus gear. If there's 2 of you, get a 3 man, then that's 2 people plus gear. This option is going to set you back, let's call it 100, 120 pounds for the tent and then some of the pegs. I always recommend upgrading your pegs to something a little bit more sturdy. It's nothing worse than putting them in the ground and then bending. This here just shows you how small the poncho can roll up, and then next to it you can see the tent as well, so the Yellowstone tent. So that's the difference between the poncho and the 2-man tent. And now lastly, this here is the big boy. This is the Lone Rider tent. So this is your 2-man, all your gear and your bike. Obviously it depends what bike you've got, how much luggage options you've got, to what option suits you. Depends where you're riding, how long you're going for, like I said at the start. I'm actually tempted to do a few days in Wales with just the poncho and just see how it goes. Sometimes got to live life a little bit uncomfortable. And now lastly, as you can tell, we've got the biggest option out of the 3. This is Lone Rider's Moto tent. This is going to set you back about £450. It's not cheap, it's not, let's face it, especially when you've got an option of £50. But the beautiful thing with this, A, it's a full tent. It sleeps 2, plus your gear, and it's got a garage. You can park your bike in it if you want. So if you're in a bit of a dodgy area and you want to make sure you've got a little bit more added layer of protection, i.e. people want to get to your bike, they've got to undo the tent, then you can whack it in there. And if you're in somewhere safe, like a campsite, you can leave the bike outside, and then you've got a massive kind of garage, porch, relaxation, get ready, dress up, everything inside this thing. For reference, these awning poles are extra. They are going to bump up the price over £500. I'm 6'1", and while stood in the centre of this thing, my head is only just touching it. So anyone smaller than 6'1", you're going to be fine. And I have tested it, I can confirm the GSA does fit in here. And actually it fits in kind of that section there enough, where you've still got a bit of a walkway, so obviously you can easily get into the sleeping compartment. This here is obviously the garage space. There is a mat as well, so if you don't want the bike inside, you can have a mat there, so it's waterproof, so you can get changed without your feet getting wet. And you've just got a nice little gubbin space on the left hand side where you can put all your gear. Come with me, little pretty. So with these 3 options, you've really got a range of size, weight, packability, speed of putting these things up, and lastly is going to be cost. With the GSA, I've got the side bags, I've got the rear rack, I'm going to be getting a back box soon. I can take pretty much as much gear as I want. Me personally, I'm going to rule out the 2-man tent. Now for the reason for that, for me it's just too small. I'm 6'1", I'm not a skinny bloke. Getting inside there, I can sit up and that's about it. I don't want to be getting dressed in the morning, sat up, or have to come outside of my tent to set up, to get dressed. So that I have used last year on a camping trip, but I only used it because I had it left over from when I was in the army, as you can tell, with the MTP poncho. They say at the start is use what you got, and if you don't have anything, go and find the cheapest option to kind of get out and test the waters, see if you like it. That's the main thing. You can spend all this money and then not enjoy it. So yeah, 2-man tent, gone. And now that's obviously leaving you with either the poncho or the big boy. So if I'm going somewhere with a campsite where I know I can set up and I've got plenty of space, 100% I'm taking this. I want to be comfortable. I want to be able to stand up in the back of there, get dressed. If it started doing the wet stuff, leave the bike outside, I'll be in there, table up, cooking, dry, happy. If I'm going for an exploration, doing some off-roading, kind of having it a little bit ad hoc, then that's where the poncho will come into it for me. I am looking forward to just taking the poncho, taking a sleeping bag and just going away for a few days, getting around Wales. I don't think us adventure riders actually adventure enough. A lot of people don't even take their big adventure bikes off-road. I do. I drop it a lot. I leave it dirty. I clean it probably 2 or 3 times a year. Bikes aren't meant to be clean and pristine and hardly any miles. Ride it when you want and just go and enjoy it. Let me know what other type of motorcycle, travel, camping content you want to see, and I will do my best. At the end of the day, as sad as it is, I actually like making videos that you guys want to see. rather than me just always trying to come up with content to create. Right, it's getting towards dinner time. If you found this helpful, like it, subscribe. More importantly, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and more videos coming very soon. Until the next one, ride safe.